Vols are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee to one Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Thursday, March 23rd. If you're listening to this tomorrow, hopefully the Vols are still dancing. I've got my Whitney Houston shirt on. It's my official March Madness shirt because I want to dance with somebody because we are dancing with somebody. It's a great.
I was going to wear my Tennessee basketball jersey, but my wife said I look like a douche, so I changed.
Smart to listen. I mean, I thought I don't know what you look like in that. I'm going to say you would have looked great, but I'd probably listen to my wife too if I were you. So
I didn't have any sleeves, so I mean, I did look like a frat guy with a chain and a basketball jersey. But hey, it is kind of spring break a little bit.
Sort of spring break season.
Yeah, it's the time. Yeah,
absolutely. We got a good game going on in Madison Square Garden right now. Vols are going to tip off right after. We're going to have you out of here by 9. Probably looking at a little bit after 9 tip off, but we'll get out of here by 9 just to give you some time to get to the TV and get ready to watch the Vols versus the Owls. I'm excited, man. I'm fired up. It is a good time to be a Vol. Sweet 16, Madison Square Garden. This is college basketball. It looks like Manhattan is orange right now. I'm fired up. That arena looked pretty empty until right after tip-off, and the Vols made their way from Printer's Alley, and now it's looking a little bit more like NCAA tournament time. So I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Tennessee, and if you made the trip to New York, shout out to you. Shout out to you.
We always show out, baby. Always.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and get into the show because, like I said, we're going to try to get you out of here in now looking at 50 minutes. Before we do that, though, I do want to mention our good friends over at Underdog Collectibles. Underdog is Knoxville's best sports collectibles store, the wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autographed helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card release, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT graduates and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events throughout the year. Stop by the University Commons Shopping Center next to Publix and Domino's to check them out. They're open 6 days a week with live YouTube shows 3 nights per week. Remember to always bet on the Underdog. They've got everything over there you could be looking for, and might have to see if we can find some rugby cards in there sometime now after this week.
Yeah, some All Blacks or Australia, whatever. I guess they're the same thing.
No, New Zealand's All Blacks. You tried, though. I appreciate it.
No. I know that, but he's saying Australian rugby rules, but Australian rugby rules and just regular rugby, I think, are the same thing.
Correct. I think he meant Australian football, I think was what he was going for. Mm-hmm. But you just missed it.
The worst part about doesn't hit the same.
The joke doesn't hit the same. The worst part is I think he had that one written out because he gave himself a little chuckle after. And I wasn't offended because I think he was joking. I am offended that he thinks I'm stupid. He said he didn't watch the Duke-Tennessee game yet. That game was on the day before. You're telling me you didn't watch the two teams if you would have played? Shut up. Yeah, I'm not that dumb.
No.
I do think he was – I mean, come on. I think he was – hey, shout out to Dusty May. I think he was working the refs a little bit. And, hey, that's your job. Your job is to go in there and win however you can. If I saw a team like Tennessee, of course you're the opposing team. You want the fouls called. That's what you want. You start working the refs from the get-go. You tell them what they should see. That's a smart move on him. I don't know why we're hating. Here's the thing, though. If they go in and call it tight, Tennessee's might struggle from the get-go, but this team can play physical basketball. They played in SEC all year. We've seen 45 fouls called in 1 game. It's not outside of their realm of possibility to win if this game's called tight. So I'm not worried about it.
Well, and like the game before Michigan State and Kansas State, Michigan State and Tom Izzo, they play one of the most physical brand of basketball there is. So you can, if you're watching that game, you can probably get a clear indication of how they're going to be calling it. Maybe they are
crew to crew. You never know.
Maybe they're a little lighter on the whistle for ours. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Tennessee wins by 20. It doesn't matter how many whistles they call.
I like to hear that. I said Tennessee has no problem playing that way, and I mean I really do. I feel as good as I think you could about a Sweet 16 matchup. You know, we were eating dinner a minute ago, and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't hungry, and it's the nerves. They're setting in, man. I don't see myself sitting down once I leave this desk for the rest of the night. I'm fired up, but I am nervous. I mean, FAU, they aren't here by luck, the same way Tennessee. And I mean, they did have to play and beat Memphis. They did get FDU in the second round, but you're talking about a Cinderella team that's coming off the greatest win probably ever will be in school history. When the world ends, we'll all look back together and say, you remember FDU beating Purdue? We'll all say it. So to go in and get that win is still tough. And they did bring a little bad karma on themselves, I believe. So we'll see how that goes with that last dunk. If you make that dunk, I think people feel a little bit differently about it, but karma rained down very differently when you miss it. So not good look there. I think as far as, I mean, matchup goes for Sweet 16, you can't ask for a better one. I mean, sure, you're going to, them being a little bit leaner, maybe a little bit faster, presents its own share of struggles, but this is a team that's fast, also physical, and I'm not worried about Tennessee being able to cover on the arc like we talked about before the Louisiana game. How if they could get hot from three, that's dangerous. But we're not looking at this FAU team looking at a threat in the paint. So you're not all drawn to one guy and then also having to cover the outside. So not that I think I'm sure they'll get theirs, but I don't think it's the same struggle as that Louisiana presented.
Yeah, he's not as polished as Jordan Brown was, 100%, the 7-footer that they have. And I don't think they have anybody else that really plays a ton of minutes that's over 6'4", or at least starters. They play four guards. Right. And I think that's kind of advantage Tennessee, especially if if they're not able to, get hot like Missouri was against us, or I'm blanking on who. I guess Kentucky was pretty hot against us. But if they're not coming out firing, I mean, I think that's advantage Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee has size. They have, and not just in the post. Their guards are big. Josiah's big. Julian's big. Jemai Mashak is big. I mean, it's going to be tough for them to really get theirs. So I think Tennessee, kind of like we mentioned last game we were talking about Duke, is, you got to defend the perimeter as best you can, ball pressure, help, don't leave anybody open. And I think the 7-footer, I don't think you need to double team him. I don't think he's that opposing presence that you need to throw a double team at. I mean, I think you can trust your guys, whoever it is, Urosh, Olivier, Jonas, Tobe. I think all four of those guys can handle him. He's not the one that's scary. I think I'd be a lot more worried if this was Purdue. And I'm not saying FAU doesn't deserve to be here, because they absolutely do. But I mean, let's call a spade a spade. They, Memphis kind of got the short end of a stick of, that foul call, and, they went on a last second shot, and then, they end up playing a 16 seed, which 16 seed had to go beat Purdue. But, I think their kind of bracket opened up early, where I think this is where Tennessee's is finally opening up.
Yeah, I don't disagree that as far as, like I said, matchup, this is it. And I think I am interested to see how Tennessee attacks them defensively for 40 minutes. I think we'll see man. I got to imagine right out of the gate, get hands and faces, even off ball, and try to, because they move the ball pretty well. And so I think try to disrupt some early stuff. I'm kind of interested to see if we do go to a zone, because like you said, I think this is one of those games that if we go to zone, it's going to be with the intention of protecting perimeter and kind of leaving that one man isolated. And I think that's fine, but I'm interested to see if they can protect the gaps in that zone and what they can do. And then maybe this is a man for 40-minute game. I don't know. I'm sure I'm sure fouls may play into it and what Tennessee has to adjust to, but I mean, I'm interested to see how they attack it throughout, but I do expect man right out of the gate. And I mean, after the way Tennessee started against Duke, I kind of expect Drew Roche to maybe start the game and see if he can get anybody inside off their rhythm early and see what happens there. I'm very interested to see what they've got in store on offensive end. It's still, I think we get a big game from Olivia Kumwa, and that's awesome. I hope he can carry it into tonight for a couple of reasons. Number one, Tennessee, you never know who you're gonna get from on the offensive end. So I'm Vescovi, he's going for 14. Josiah, you hope hits some of his shots and he's in the 10 range. And then who's going to be that next guy? I think for the remainder of this tournament, and I mean that includes tonight, I think it's got to be Kumwa. And I'm not asking him to go for 27 a night. That's not it. But we've talked about all season, Tennessee's lacked that inside guy that you could go to in late shot clock situations or possessions that you've seen in 2 or 3 empty possessions, and you got to go to someone that can get to the rim or get an open shot. I think it's got to be Kumwa. I think you said it last show. He's your most polished big. You probably said it all year. He's your most polished big, and then someone's got to be your guy when you need it, and I think it's got to be him. So I hope he brings it again tonight and carries momentum from last game, because I mean he played excellent in just about every facet of the game that you could ask. And so I hope you see him carry that over, because I think you've seen Tennessee get streaky. They're going to go 3 or 4 possessions, maybe more without a score. Hopefully they can go to Kumwa and shake those possessions away and try not to let FAU go on big runs and limit that. I'm also, one thing for Tennessee, and I'm not sitting here saying hit all your open shots. That's an impossible task. I know, impossible task to ask, but I think one big thing for Tennessee is take your good shots, and then hopefully some of those fall. I think that's one thing Tennessee can do. They can either, one or two things I think they're guilty of pretty often, is either taking not great looks early in the shot clock because they think they're good looks, or not taking good looks because they're looking for something better. I mean, I don't know how many assists Tennessee has on the year. It's a lot. And this is a team that moves the ball. But I think when you have a good opportunity, you got to take it. And that's what you really need tonight, is take the good opportunities. You don't need to wait for great. Good's fine. Take them, hit some of them.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of interested in how they play matchups. Like, we were talking about how FAU plays 4 guards. Does Rick Barnes just screw it, we're going big and we're dominating the paint? I mean, I would love nothing more if this game is just, we have 64 points in the paint. Or is it, if they want to play 4 guards, cool. They better make a lot of shots, because we're going to be right there next to the rim. Olivier's got that turnaround. I think Josiah could have a really big game in the paint when you have a smaller guard on you. I think he can back somebody down, hit some of those pull-ups, hit some of those runners, and I think this is a good game for Tennessee to get started early, because I think you can kind of put it away. Now, the way they shoot the basketball, they're 26th in the country in 3-point percentage. I think they shot over 953s so far this season. So, I mean, they're going to shoot it, and I guess that's kind of been Tennessee's Achilles heel for years, and a Cinderella team in the tournament. I'm talking myself out of a win. Dang it. But I mean, I do think there's a way to combat that, and that's utilizing your size and dominating the paint like you absolutely should.
Yeah, and what you said kind of about that dominating the paint too is taking away those second chance points, because I mean they are going to miss. They're not going 100% from deep. Don't give them many second chance points, especially on. And it can be tough when you play a team that's used to shooting the 3, a lot of long rebounds. They're used to them, and it can be tough to adjust to those. But that's one thing I don't worry about with this team too much, is they're going to fight for rebounds. Sometimes I don't always agree with the way they fight for them. Put a body on a man, for God's sakes. But they're going to fight for rebounds. And so I don't worry about that. Another guy on the offensive end, I'd look to have a game that's pieced together a nice mid-range game, is Jonas Adu. Talk about he's going to be matched up with a 7-footer anytime he's in. If not, I think that mid-range game's even better for him. But he does a good job of finding that elbow wide open often, and he's knocked down a couple, and this just might be his game.
Yeah, I think Tyree Key, kind of the same way, using that body to kind of back people down. He's a kind of a bigger guard as well. So, I'm interested to see kind of how they play this FAU team. Do they just kind of go at them and hey, we are the physical team your coach was talking about? It doesn't have to be exactly rugby, but they're
No, make it nasty.
it needs to be physical. You need to, I almost said pound in the paint, and that sounds weird. But use your physicality to your advantage.
Piss off Doug Gottlieb more, please.
Yeah.
I want him tweeting all night about the Tennessee Volunteers, and I want him to be sick about it. And we talked about, you talk about being physical. You've seen everyone harp on it, especially like you said earlier about Michigan State. Tom Izzo looking good in the first weekend. That's how they've made these March runs, is being a physically dominant team, and that's what it takes to win in March. And I mean, the fact of it is make the officials blow the whistle. If they blow the whistle, you can learn how to play. But if you never test that, you're never going to see how physical it can get. And that's one thing about that Duke and Tennessee game. They let it go. And you're asking Tennessee to back off just because the refs aren't calling it. That's sorry. It's not our problem. Take it as physical as you can get. Find the edge, and don't jump off of it. Find it and hang on it and see where they'll let you play. And because that's what's gonna carry you, especially in this game. I mean, they're fast. They've got some guys that can knock down shots. So if you want to knock them off their game for 40 minutes, it's gonna take that physical brand of basketball. And frankly, that if you win tonight, that'll carry you in the next game as well. So get nasty. I like what Olivier Kumwa said. I don't know if that's been a motto, because I think Urosh mentioned it too. Get down in the mud. Find out if they're willing to play down
dirty. And not like, you don't have to just be dirty. You don't have to play dirty. Be dirty.
No. Yeah, I'm not asking you to trip people.
Yeah,
I'm asking you to every time a guy's got you're going to see Tennessee try to back down guys all the time, and sometimes they just let them. And if it's reverse roles, let them know you're there.
Yeah.
Don't make it easy. I think this is a game that exactly. Wait till the second half to start using all of them, but use them. I'm fired up for this one. I mean, I think, like I said, this is Tennessee's best Sweet 16 opponent, and I don't know how long. I know it's going to be a game, and I don't see. You talked about kind of Tennessee getting out ahead, but their inability, we know they can be streaky. That allows teams back into it. You got to limit those runs. So I know it's going to be a 40-minute game. It's the way it goes, but I think if you can get half a game like you did against Duke out of Kumwa, that helps you a ton. And we've talked about that. Who's going to be the other scorer besides Vescovi and Josiah, even though he only had 7 against Duke? Who's going to be that other guy? And it might just be Olivier Kumwa.
I would love nothing more to I think we said this at the beginning. I would love nothing more if he just finally finds some consistency for once in his Tennessee career and just goes off in the tournament. So hopefully that's the case. Tennessee's playing that game on Saturday was Tennessee's best basketball game all year long. Without their point guard, I know they fought through injuries this whole entire time. This team has faced some adversity. I don't know how much FAU has, because they've only lost 3 games all year long. But Tennessee has definitely faced some adversity throughout this season. And, it seems like, especially Saturday, now they got to be a little consistent. I know that's been a problem with this team, but, it seemed like they were playing their best basketball. They were absolutely prepared for Duke. I think they'll be absolutely prepared for FAU. And I think they need to be the aggressor. They won 11 in a row. FAU's won 9 in a row. They won their first conference championship this year. It's the first time they've been to the NCAA tournament since 2002. It's the first time that they've made the Sweet 16 in program history. So, history repeats itself. Tennessee street killers, baby.
End it, yeah. And Tennessee, I think, is playing their best basketball, and I don't even think that was for 40 minutes of Duke. I think they struggled early on, especially you mentioned without their point guard. Tennessee's still trying to find a full groove with a ball handler. I think we had 8 turnovers in the Duke game. I had to pull it back up. I think 8. We had 4 in the span of in one of those runs that Tennessee struggles in. If you can limit those, you're going to be a hard team to beat, because teams got to score off turnovers, especially against this defense. That's where teams are going to feast. If you can limit the turnovers or limit the scores off turnovers, that's huge. I also like what you mentioned about FAU. This team knows how to win. They do know how to win. Now, I am interested to see what kind of happens when they get punched in the mouth over and over and over again.
Can they win an ugly game, though, is something that I want to
Yeah.
No, because Tennessee's going to make you uncomfortable. When if you're hitting 37%, Tennessee's limiting opponents to 26% from behind the arc. Something's got to give there. So, like, if they're not going in the first, is that it? Is that all you got? Because
It is worth mentioning. It is worth mentioning. I think these rims at Madison Square Garden are friendlier than they've been to Tennessee lately. This Kansas State game's 77 to Michigan State 73 right now. So shots are falling. I do hope that's the case for the guys in orange here coming up. Maybe not the other way for the red and blue, but it feels like the rims have been very unfriendly every time Tennessee's played there to both teams. That Texas Tech game a year and a half ago, Texas Tech came in as one of the best shooting teams in the country and put on one of the worst performances behind Tennessee.
No Spalding basketballs, please. I think they're playing with the Wilson, so that
we are Wilson Evos this time around.
Good. I don't understand why that's a thing, but good Lord.
I don't understand why at this level you're playing with your brand of basketball. Tennessee obviously plays with Nike. Any Adidas school is going to play with Adidas and so on. If I'm a coach and I know what we're using in March, that's what we're playing with the whole season. Nike can listen. It's going to look better for your brand, us making a deep run than your basketball on our court. So we're playing with a Wilson. It's very weird to me.
Yeah, anything but a Spalding. So I don't care.
Yeah. That ball has historically been the worst basketball. I think it's Will Warren, Stats by Will, that did a whole piece about it after that Texas Tech Tennessee game, and it's by far the worst performing basketball. It's hilarious how bad it is. Which a lot of people have problems with these Wilsons that are being used right now because I guess they're fresh out of the box and not broken in, and some people act like it's not a big deal. Any ball that's fresh out of the box, it doesn't play the same as a good, well broken in ball.
Well, the over is probably going to hit in this game, so I guess that argument's kind of out the window.
Right, right.
Also, I mean, maybe not for Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas is struggling.
Arkansas is getting whooped by UConn. I haven't seen the score since I came up here, but it was bad when I left. That's halftime?
Yeah.
Or does it come out of half? But here, Arkansas is a team now. That's a large lead to overcome, but Arkansas is a team that can go rattle off a 10-12-0 run, no problem.
I said Gus or Muss needs to just take his shirt off and try coaching that way.
It might bring a little energy to the court. Anything will do at this point, I think, for them.
All right, anything else for basketball? Man, I'm excited.
I'm nervous. I'm fired
You have
up.
a chance. It's right in front of you. I mean, and a team that's kind of been here before. This FAU hasn't really been here before, so I think that hopefully this team is just like prepared for it and refusing to lose. This isn't ending tonight.
Yeah.
If it ends, Saturday, I think you can chalk up this season as a success, and maybe you can for the Sweet 16 anyway. But I feel like the opponent that you have, it's right there to make it to the Elite Eight for the second time in school history.
Yeah, I think for me, you know how I am. I understand that only one team wins at the end of the season, and how goals work. And I mean, I said it to Chase Dolander and Christian Moore, and as much as I still believe that year was a success, even not making it to Omaha, I liked what I heard from them. But I mean, right now, the position Tennessee's in, this is an Elite Eight team that should be that should have their eyes set on Houston. So not that this win's going to come easy. I don't think it is, but I think Tennessee's set themselves up playing good basketball right now. Getting to the Elite Eight should be in the forefront of their minds and not out of the realm of possibility in the sense of business just needs to be taken care of. And another thing I love, I think Rick Barnes' team, because they've had some great personalities. They've had some great guys on their team. I think they've been a really likable team since Rick Barnes has been here. They just acquired the villain role. And I think specifically Urosh and Kumwa like it. They kind of smile when they talk about the brand of basketball they've been labeled as. So I'm kind of interested to see how these guys take the villain role.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the baseball team do it. I don't know if the football team was labeled as the villain, but people didn't like them because of the offense that they run. And they were scoring on you, and they didn't care how much they were going to score on you. Either keep up or get out of the way is kind of how they played. Right. And so, Yeah, I think that should be a Tennessee brand from now on. Let's just be the villains of everything. That's fine. I mean, the fan base
Absolutely.
already is. So I mean, we've just been waiting on this moment for the athletic programs to take note and join in on the fun.
Which I hate that I hate that I tweeted back at Doug Gottlieb because I know he just wanted clicks. But the fact that he blocked me and he blocked me in seconds, I know he read it. So I know you read it, Doug. You wouldn't have blocked me if you hadn't read it. Thank you for giving me that satisfaction as a troll. I appreciate it.
All right, well, that's all I got for basketball. We're gonna kind of
That's it. Let's get fired up. We've got
speed this up a little bit.
30 minutes till tip off. It'll probably be just about right, depending on how the rest of this game goes. Minute 47 left, 5-point game. Could be a slow end, but 9 o'clock tip off's looking a little after 9's looking good.
I do want to mention, got some big news. So we are partnering with the Vol Club, the collective group that Tennessee fans can join, and from a number of different tiers you can donate. I think it starts at $5 a month. You can do 25, 100, and then kind of go on from there. But we just kind of want to help bring awareness to it. Also information to it. We're going to have some people on the show to talk about it a little bit more, what they got going on, where the money's going, stuff like that. Like, people just want to know that. I understand people are a little bit hesitant to just give money, especially, something that they already kind of give money to in regards to season tickets and clothing and, all that other stuff. So it is really cool what they're doing. And so we got to partner with them a little bit, and hopefully that leads to better content for us to kind of bring awareness to it, bring exposure to more athletes and things like that. Because it is a really cool thing that these kids get to make money on their name, image, likeness. And, that's something that we can contribute to, $5 a month. I mean, that's $60 a year you can give, and hopefully that can help an athlete, maybe just decide to come to Tennessee, whatever. I think continuing that winning culture is something that I want to see. We're living in the great days of Tennessee athletics right now, and I don't want it ever to see it go away. So I think this is a good way for people to kind of give and make sure that happens.
Yeah, a lot of great opportunities there with the volunteer club. We are tweeting out a link right now if you'd like to go ahead and get your donation rolling. A lot of great stuff when you sign up. I don't have everything with me that they send you right when you sign up, but you get koozies. I got a Cade Mays signed photo right off the bat, but you also get exclusive events. They throw stuff throughout the year, tailgates before football games. They also do, I know tonight they are doing a watch party at Yeehaw. So some of the things they do, they also do things that athletes attend, meet and greets. Just for members exclusively. You also get some behind the scenes content, just for those members. It's a great way to. It's one of those things that not asking everyone to give everything, but if everyone can give a little, that's a lot. And like you said, bringing exposure to not just exposure to these athletes, but also a way for them to earn money and be a part of fan base. It's all about kind of connecting, and it's another way you can do that. So make sure you go to that link. We've also got that link if you go to our Twitter profile, Instagram profile, Facebook profile. You click on our link tree. It is there, third or fourth one down, link to the volunteer club. You can start donating today. You can donate as little as $5 a month. That's $60 a year, or as much as you want there. Those tiers go up, like Landon said. So make sure you go ahead and get on that now. There's gonna be a lot of stuff coming out. That's another thing about NIL is it's still very new. So the collectives are learning from it. The athletes are learning from it. And it's just this kind of stuff's just going to get better. So make sure you get on it now and experience it. You also get discounts on a lot of cool apparel and other stuff from Volunteer Club that they've got on their website there. So make sure you go check that out.
Yep, do it. Let's get into spring practice a little bit. So it finally, football's in the air, and it felt really good outside today. It felt like a spring practice, like a good spring practice. Those cold and snowy spring practices are no fun for anybody. So good to kind of see that, and I'm excited. It gets me a little excited. Basketball is kind of winding down. You got baseball in full swing, but then it's like, dude, football's right there too. It's not too far behind, so good to see kind of the new team here. You got new QB1. You got transfers. You got, the freshmen that are here, highly touted. So just a lot of things kind of going on, and, not a ton to really talk about or dive into. It's still kind of early in spring practice. But position-wise, there are positions to see. I think the offensive tackle position is going to be one that's you're going to have a lot of eyes on it just because of who you lost there. Darnell Wright was one of, if not the best, offensive tackle in college football last year.
Yep.
So replacing him is going to be difficult. They land John Campbell from Miami. You got Gerald Mincey, Jeremiah Crawford, to kind of see who can, take over those two spots. And I mean, I guess they kind of wanted to be John Campbell, or they wouldn't have brought him in from Miami. But you got to go out there and win it. And can he be? I don't think it's fair to say can you be as productive as Darnell Wright, but can you be serviceable?
Yeah, and I think too, this is just another year that Joe Milton has gotten to sit in Josh Heupel's system and learn from it. He got a lot of playing time too. I know not all meaningful snaps until that Clemson game, but did get to at least not only learn but also play. And then that Clemson game was, as much as it sucked to lose Hendon Hooker, as far as the outlook for this year, not only was it awesome for the fans to kind of get almost felt like a preseason game a little bit in that sense of next year, but also good for Joe Milton to get meaningful snaps in a tough game in this system just to improve before next year. And because, I mean, you do start right off the gate. I know Virginia's no Clemson, but a Power 5 opponent that's got talent more so than Ball State or Bowling Green or what have you. So that's huge for him, and that's only going to help the offensive line. I've also got not questions, but I am interested to see what happens at the running back position. But all those running backs that are returning, same deal with them as Joe Milton, except they played all season. But I'm kind of curious if you can find a running back one right out the gate. I think maybe it's Jalen Wright for the entirety of the season if he doesn't struggle early on holding on to the football. I talked about this with someone today. I think if those woes aren't there, he might be your RB1. I don't know. That was kind of my feeling throughout the year. I think we've got 3 right now good RB2s. They put them on any team in the country. They're fantastic RB2s. I want to see someone kind of be the guy and Tennessee find better ways to utilize them. Everybody got good beneficial touches, but who's going to be your guy lining up in the backfield? I'm interested to see. It's 3 really good backs. I kind of don't know how they manage them, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I'm kind of with you. I think it's Jalen Wright. I think he was probably your best running back last year, even though he probably didn't get as many touches as he probably should have. I'd like to see him feed him a little bit more. And, it's no slight to Jabari Small or even Dylan Sampson, but, I just think that, he is a different gear. He's bigger. He just looks like an SEC running back. And, I don't think he was his freshman year. Maybe Dylan Sampson has that kind of turn that, Jalen Wright had his sophomore year. But, right. I definitely think Jalen Wright's probably your most polished back. I guess I'm using that word polished quite a bit, but I do think it's Jalen Wright. And again, no offense to Jabari Small or Dylan Sampson. I think, like you said, they're good RB2s, but I think Jalen Wright just kind of has a leg up at this point.
This game's going into overtime. We've got well after 9 tonight, boys. 82-82. Uh-oh.
Dang.
Overtime in the East Regional. Michigan State's done a good job just chipping away at that. They should have won because they missed an and one on the possession before that. And Dylan Sampson, I think he's a really interesting what happens this offseason because, like you said, he's probably going to put on some weight. You kind of mentioned that Jalen Wright transition, what that looks like. He's the guy that's got the most speed of the 3. Now, Jalen Wright, what I think he has differently than Jabari Small, because I think they run pretty similar. Jalen Wright's just got that extra gear that Jabari Small is just barely missing. And I think that puts him over the edge a little bit. He has a little bit of tearaway. And I think part of the thing that hindered Jalen Wright was missing fall camp. And I think that's tough to kind of get going. I think that probably, not that it's an excuse, but I think it probably doesn't help why he struggles running the football. I think when he did get to participate in fall camp, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's non-contact, right, through fall camp
for him. Yeah, I don't think he
when when literally practiced, it was all non-contact, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's got to play a little part. He only fumbled 4 times, only lost 2 of those. 3 only lost. He fumbled 5 and lost 3. I can't. He didn't lose all of them, thankfully, but that ball hit the turf a little too much. I know for a coach, especially when you have 2 good backs behind him as well. That's one of those things you can't slip up there. You got to protect the football. But yeah, I like Jalen Wright a lot, so I'm interested to kind of see how they, like I said, how they manage that. Not that I'm, again, not question marks. I feel really good about Tennessee's running back room. It's just who's the guy.
Yeah. And I'm kind of the same way with the secondary. I think there is talent there. I think it's going to be more talented than it was last year.
Yeah.
I just like, who's it going to be? Who wins the battles? You know, do we see any of these freshmen get any time, you know, at safety? Or are you going to play the same Jalen McCullough? And, you know, is it going to be Wesley Walker? Tamari McDonald? Is he going to be the star? You know, do they kind of lean on some younger guys? To this point, since Josh Heupel's been here, they go with veterans in the secondary. I don't know why, but they do. I guess the cost to risk or the cost to benefit analysis that they're doing, you know, they'd rather see a veteran go out there and, you know, don't screw anything up but not make a ton of plays than screw something up and make some plays. To this point, that's what it's been. And so I'd like to see somebody different. I know Wesley Walker, you know, I thought he was probably your most talented safety last year. And I mean, he didn't do a fantastic job by any means, but I definitely think he was around the ball a lot. So I like to see a little bit more athletic in the back end there. And Danico Slaughter is at corner, so he did not go back to safety. Apparently Christian Charles is back at safety. So, you know, we'll see kind of how that plays out. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm interested to see who starts where in that defensive backfield.
I agree with you in terms of question marks. And out of those things, I think everybody in the secondary has got to elevate their game. Another thing about that, the entire defense really outside of probably linebacker, you're rotating a crap ton. And even linebacker, I'm sure they'd like to rotate more. It's probably been more of a numbers game there. So you really need about 6-7 guys in that secondary to play really well for that defense to elevate. And secondary's got a long way to go. And I know it's not always easy in this offense. You're out on the field a lot. And then when you mix in another team that passes a ton and runs any kind of up-tempo, it may not match Tennessee's, but any kind of up-tempo, it's tough to play in that. I understand. But I think the biggest thing is Tennessee's you mentioned Wesley Walker being around the ball a lot. I think that's the biggest thing for the secondary. Miss some downs. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It's going to happen in this style of play. Find a way to get the ball, though. Find a way to get takeaways. If this secondary can get a few takeaways, a takeaway a game, that's huge. That's going to put you in a lot of good positions.
Yeah, just being in position is something that I'd like to see a big improvement on.
And one thing is, I'm not a Willie Martinez stand. I'm not stand. You know, I don't. Not that I'm sitting here thinking he's the best defensive back coach in the world, but I think he's done a really good job of making guys better. And so I do have a faith, especially in the cornerbacks and the improvement they can make. I mean, 2 guys that he coached right now just signed massive contracts in the NFL. So I do have some faith there.
That's pretty insane how they're going to be starting at the. I guess, I mean, you don't pay those guys to sit, so I definitely think, you know, probably 2 of their cornerbacks, maybe one's at the nickel, but yeah, that's impressive. And if you saw Emmanuel Mosley's like story that we tweeted out, he said that Cam Sutton took him on his recruiting visit. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Sutton's an awesome story too, in the sense of Tennessee guy and getting to do what he's done. That's a 3-star, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Emmanuel Mosley probably. I mean, he looked big in that video.
Yeah, he was tiny for pretty much his entire Tennessee career.
He looked like a freaking water bottle out there.
Yeah, so good. I mean, I'm happy for them. Like I said, that gives me faith, and especially. I mean, Cam Sutton's a little anecdotal because it's going to be tough to ever improve the way he did, the jumps he made in his time at Tennessee. But yeah, that guy coached him, so I do have some faith there.
Yeah. Any players you'd like to? hate like doing predict a breakout. I mean, everybody kind of had their eyes on Jalen Hyatt. I don't think they were predicting him to win the Blitnikoff, but I think they were ready for him to take that next step, and he did that. So, who's a guy that can maybe have a breakout year this season?
Yeah, I think the cheat codes on offense are Brew McCoy or Joe Milton. Like those are the obvious ones.
Or just any receiver.
Any receiver. I think Brew's going to be a lot like, which I mean, I guess he kind of was that security target there for a while. But kind of maybe like Tillman. I think he took over Cedric Tillman's spot when he got injured. I think he was kind of the guy that he could look to in tough situations to make that throw. So I think he has that benefit. But I mean, we haven't really gotten to see Brew use much of his speed. That's why I think it's him. I think he's gonna be more than a safety outlet. And so I'm interested to kind of see how he makes that jump. I mean, again, I think it's Squirrel White too. Like, again, I think there's cheat codes there that you see the obvious stuff. So I don't know. Offensive side of the ball, I think it's tough because I think you could go any of the four I just listed. I think are easy.
Yeah, I think Dante Thornton, you can throw him in there. Yeah, basically whoever the top receiver is going to be that guy. I'm going to go with Jalen Wright. I just think that I just think he's a dog. Threatening to kind of hit the portal and then got his NIL deal kind of squared away. And I just think things kind of fell in the right place for a reason. And, I think Jalen Wright could probably be that. I just want to see like a running back hit 1,000. That's what I want to see.
And yeah, I mean, again, going to kind of based on how they manage him, but he's got to be your best chance to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Landon Allen said, watch out for Squirrel. I mean,
yeah,
you got to.
Right.
And he's tiny. He's smaller than Jalen Hyatt. But he just got that little kind of get off about him that you can just throw it up. You can just, stand up and toss it to him, and, he's going to make a few people miss. And he's going to make a lot of opposing DBs look very stupid this season.
Yeah, I think he has better field vision, ability to kind of manage the field than Jalen Hyatt did at this point in his career.
Yeah.
Now, you saw a different Jalen Hyatt his senior year, but this point in his career, he's better.
Yeah.
Defensive side of the ball, I've got kind of two. The first one, breakout player, is Joshua Josephs. I mean, right, you saw him last year and you kind of wanted more. You're like, where is this guy at? Like, come on.
Can we get him back on the field for anything?
Right. So I think, I mean, the way he abused that LSU offensive line, who I know was struggling at that point in the season when Tennessee played them, but it's still LSU. And, I mean, abusing guys. I think that's a real hope to see a big season from him. And then this isn't breakout, but kind of hitting on like Jalen Wright type deal. Very similar, I think. Aaron Beasley. He's going to be your anchor. He kind of was in the back half of the season. He stepped up in a big way, was probably your best linebacker when you go back and review the season. Can he do that again? And can he carry this? The defense is going to need some carrying. I hope they're improved, but they're still going to need some carrying. Can he be that guy?
Well, you love to see guys that are just leaders because of the way they played.
Yeah.
And that's Aaron Beasley. I don't know if you got this, if you noticed this, but usually when a coach say, hey, break it down, they usually call it somebody's name, and it's usually a leader on that team. Well, the other day they broke down, I think it was the first practice, and he said, Beasley, break us down. Aaron Beasley's going to be a leader on this team, and I think that only helps him. Juwan Mitchell and Jeremy Banks were both veterans. Sloan Page is a veteran. So I think him just being the face of that linebacking room is going to be huge for him. And again, he's not even played linebacker since, he's played 2 years of linebacker?
Yeah.
His whole life. He's been a running back and a defensive back his entire career. So I think he's only going to get better at the position. I think his best is ahead of him, and I think you're going to see a lot of glimpses like you saw in that Orange Bowl against Clemson with Aaron Beasley.
Yeah, I agreed. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited for the defense in the sense of I do think they take a step. I don't think they'll be liability like they were last year at times. And I think too, I know that was your second year with Josh Heupel, but you also didn't going into the season. You didn't really know. I'm sure they heard it a lot from the coaches. Make this one stop here. We got them in 4th down. Make this one stop here. Well, then after that Florida game, you believed it. You didn't just hear it. You saw it happen. You knew it was true. So I think knowing that is going to be huge, and I think you will see some big 4th down stops. You did against LSU, a ton of big 4th down stops, and that's another thing. No team's going to convert like Florida did, but you also didn't let them convert enough to win, so that's huge.
Yeah. I got one more defensive side. You went kind of one for each. So I'll go one of each. Danico Slaughter, back at corner. I think he was Tennessee's best corner last year. Mm-hmm. And, I don't think it was necessarily very close. Right. He just got that physicality to him. He'll come up and knock your brains in like he did against Kentucky. He can go up and get the football. He plays the football, which is something that Tennessee fans have been dying to see is, a DB finally playing the football. And I just don't think I know he wanted to go back to safety. That's probably been his natural position, but I think he could make a lot of money being a corner. Being that big and physical and that fast and having those kind of ball skills, I think, him making it to the next level is probably better suited for him to be a cornerback instead of a safety. So I think he's found his spot. Now, whether he, takes it in full stride and kind of runs with it, that's up to him. But, I definitely think it's right there in front of him. He just got to go take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, and I love that hit against Kentucky.
Yeah, it's going to be good to have a leader in the back in that secondary too. So that's going to be huge in that back end. All right. Anything else for spring practice other than what do you think about Nico going to 12? Big talk. You got to talk about 5-star quarterback. We can't not talk about the 5-star quarterback.
Yeah. I don't love it.
See. Okay, here's my difference. I think he has put on some weight. I don't think it's just the number. I think guys
was Dormady 12.
Dormady was 12.
Yeah, I should say that.
So is Tom Brady.
That's true.
So I think big guys in double numbers look smaller. I think little guys in double numbers look bigger. I like your quarterback looking a little bigger.
You think in double numbers they look bigger?
I think small guys in double numbers look bigger.
Okay. Yeah, hey, you got to rock it, right? It doesn't. Aaron Carter's out there wearing 47. That is a whatever number. So if you can go out there and ball in 47, hey, you can rock it. So
12 is certainly not a whatever number.
Our guy Xander Seacrest is 48.
Yeah, it's not much of a pitcher number. I guess it is in like the MLB, but it doesn't sound like a pitcher number.
Yeah, it's just like we have so many. So like 46 or 48, which one do you want? No offense.
I'm going 48. I'm going 48.
Yeah.
How much weight do you think he's put on though?
Oh, he said he's gained like 20 pounds.
20? You think that's true? I think 20? 20 is a lot.
I would say 15.
And it's muscle. 15? Okay. All right.
7
minutes.
All of them.
Dylan, are you even watching this? Hold on. We got to get on our producer. He's new. Not dogging him. Dylan, this Kansas State-Michigan State game is in overtime. It's not even over. It's 94-93 Kansas State right now. 34 seconds left. We got plenty of time till tip. But I appreciate you keeping us up. But I am going to dog you.
UConn's beating the crap out of Arkansas still 71-46. So
You think Musselman's going to take the shirt off tonight?
In disgust?
Yeah, just he's done with the Hogs.
He's got to do it every game, but two different outcomes.
You think his body even looks sadder after a win or a loss like that?
Oh yeah.
Listen, he looks like a fit guy. He looks like he works out. You think he takes it off tonight and he just looks like, oh God.
It's like, dude,
what happened?
You didn't shave your chest or anything before you ripped that off? Right. That's the thing. Like that was a freshly shaved chest.
He shaves his armpits. He had no zero armpit hair.
Yeah, that's weird.
Wasn't blonde. It wasn't a little bit. Zero armpit hair.
That's weird.
This ain't going. Am I watching the same game?
It's in overtime.
It's on overtime right now.
Kansas State, Michigan State, not Arkansas, UConn.
We play. Oh, not going to
second
second
hour.
overtime. Yeah. I'm not worried about that, but they have to give them X amount of time to warm
Yeah,
up.
we
It's in the
gotta
same
warm
building,
up.
brother. Maybe it'll be like they don't let us warm up. Are they about to call a foul too on this god awful 3? All right. Let's see where we're at.
Well, baseball.
Any baseball. Yeah, let's hit this real quick. And by the way, always tune in on Monday nights. We've got more baseball talk, bat flip with Landon and Dylan. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Hopefully a little bit on the brighter side after the this next Monday.
Yeah, that was a tough one to do this past Monday. It was the toughest one we've done so far, but we did it, made through it, and we're better for it. Now, what's up?
Can I pause? Can you call a foul in review? I didn't think you could.
I don't think you can either.
So maybe they were just looking to see if he tipped it. Okay, that's what it is. All right. Just making sure.
So Tuesday night. So this weekend, Tennessee plays Texas A&M, top 25 matchup, first SEC series at home, and Tuesday night you get a full-on wake-up call by Tony Vitello. Just everybody's out of the lineup except Blake Burke. He was the only one. He was the only one in there. Freshmen, sophomores. He was throwing everybody kind of in there. Maui Huna, Christian Moore, the only guys who really hit the ball this past weekend, get them out of the lineup. Now they did come back in, later on in the game, toward the end. But yeah, I mean, he just kind of showed you like, hey, if you can't produce, like we got people behind you that can. Christian Scott had a freaking good God, that was a bomb. Yeah, I mean, it was good to get a win under your belt. You won that game 7-0. Pitching did their job. Xander Sechrist got the start. He was fired up. Love to see that. But yeah, it was a wake up call for sure. I mean, walking into the stadium and seeing that, here's the lineup. I'm like, okay, are we gonna drop another midweek game? But they got it going, and hopefully this is a wake up call. It's like, hey, we don't play like that. Competitive at bats. You can't have the mistakes. That was the worst part for me, was the mistakes in the field. Like, you just can't have that. You can't be dropping routine fly balls. You can't be, getting the last out of an inning and you drop the flip to second base. You just can't have that. Mm-hmm. It's not doing you any favors. It probably didn't hurt this team last year because you were scoring in bunches. This team is a totally different team. They have to have competitive at bats. Twice you had 2 runners on at Missouri, and then you strike out 2 times in a row. Like, you got to be able to do your job, move runners over, and score some runs that way. Play a little bit of small ball. And this team, just to this point, is, I think they are kind of too patient at the plate sometimes. Whereas Missouri, they're like, if we see a fastball coming over the plate, we're hitting it. This team takes the first pitch, and they might foul off the second pitch, and then you're fighting for your life at that point. And it's no secret that this team isn't hitting the ball well on off-speed pitches. So I'd like to see them. Hey, first pitch fastball, hammer it. Mm-hmm. See where it goes.
I feel like that's one thing that's not. You're not wondering what the coach kind of wants them to do. You've seen Tennessee swing at first pitch plenty.
Yeah, be a little bit more confident. I mean, that's a lot of it. Is this team doesn't have a ton of confidence yet, and I think a lot of that stems from losing, the guys you did last year and not having that nucleus of Gilbert, Russell, and Lipsius, guys that have been there for 3 years.
Yeah, and I mentioned on Sunday, I know I'm a huge team head, big baseball guy here, that, but I did have a lot of questions on how Vitello will kind of manage this roster with the struggles they're having. That question kind of got answered Tuesday. I am interested if you do see any adversity this weekend, if this is a team that does have plenty of talent, to go around. Kind of what happens when you're playing an SEC opponent on the weekend, who's willing to go in, and then if any guys can step up and make him change the lineup permanently.
Yeah, pitching is going to be fine, but got to get better in the field and in the lineup. And again, this is a totally different team. If you're out on them already, you're just spoiled because you've only been a fan the past 2 years. So, this kind of happens. Kansas State.
It just went up 3, 14 seconds left. Big 4.7 seconds on the shot clock. Late inbound. I mean, it had to be close to 5 there. And they hit a fadeaway, maybe not a fadeaway, in the corner for 2 to go up 3. I wonder where he was at. He might have been on the 5 count there. 4 Mississippi. Got the ball in.
That's all I got
Big
for baseball.
Let's go get some wins. A&M, they get a win over LSU this past weekend. I'm sure they're feeling pretty good. Go.
Yeah,
let's go.
That's another thing. Like, there's a little bit of pressure this weekend too. It's like you're already 0-3 in the conference. You got to get some wins under your belt, and you don't like to lose at home. Texas A&M is a good ball club. Got a really good coach and Jim Schlossnagel.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I don't know how you say it exactly, but a really good coach, and definitely want to get some wins. Get the series win. That's all I ask. I'd love to sweep, but let's get a series win and get back to our winning ways.
Good. Yeah, you mentioned getting at home. It's good you don't have to go to Bluebell because, like you mentioned, this A&M team's good club. Mm-hmm. Protect Lindsey Nelson this weekend.
Yep.
Go get some dubs.
Yep. Hornets nest.
Go do it. All right. Any more? Did we get any questions? I didn't see any.
Yeah, I didn't see any either.
Did
Stupidity?
I didn't double check anywhere besides the replies. But yeah, let's hit some stupidities. I know we got some time before this Tennessee game starts. Could be looking at another overtime now that Kansas State hit that shot, but we'll still stay somewhat on track. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I've got. Do you have a first stupidity pulled up?
Yeah, I got one. It is Gabe Hudson. Twitter Blue. He said, "This is weird, but does anybody sometimes miss quarantine life?" Hell no. That was the worst time of my life. I'm way too social to be stuck in a house all the time. Today we were walking the dogs, and my wife was like, "Do you remember we used to just walk the dogs all the time during COVID because that's all we could do?" I was like, "Yeah," and I hated my life. Also, like, it made me forget so much. Like, literally, like, it's like the timeline is so off. It's just like I don't remember anything really pre-COVID.
There are a lot of things, not necessarily pre-COVID I forget, but a lot of stuff I forget about 2020.
It's like fuzzy.
It's amazing how much I've forgotten. That COVID brain, man. No, I guess I blocked a lot of that out. No, it really what was bad for me was like the first 2 or 3 months, because after like June, maybe, we were at least like everyone kind of had a better grasp what was going on. We were able to kind of at least go out, not to do the same things we did before, but at least not, like you said, be locked up in the house entirely.
And no sports. Like there was nothing to do.
No sports and stuff. We did also get to, it was cool to do the, we had so much time. We did get to do that rewatch of the 98 season. That was a lot of fun to do. And then I also got to go out to Arizona while we were wrapping that up. I think it was 2 weeks maybe before the national championship game. Mm-hmm. So that was cool I was in Tempe while we were discussing that.
Yeah. Don't miss COVID at all, or quarantine, I guess. Don't miss that. Don't recommend it at all.
I was trying to get this video uploaded in time. It's not a stupidity, but I was hoping to. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it from my phone. All right, I may save it. It's not. I was gonna save it for Sunday, but we had time, so I'll just save it for Sunday now. All right. Well, that's a stupidity on me for thinking I could get that done fast.
I do want to mention this because I saw it today. Did you see where Roan switched jerseys with Patrick Beverley's mom?
No, I didn't. That's awesome.
Yeah, sick. And Patrick Beverley commented on it. He said, "Hey, bro, stop playing with my mom."
My first stupidity is the NCAA. Shocker. The NCAA suspended Ferris State head coach, I don't know how to say his last name, Tony Anzi?
Tony A.
Annecy? And yeah, Tony A. That's good. What do you think? What do you think the suspension was?
Something that Tennessee players would all been suspended for after they beat Alabama.
Possibly. Like, what do you think? What do you think his suspension? Like, what do you think they gave him? A game?
Oh,
practices?
Future playoff game, right?
Future playoff game.
Yeah.
How don't you not even? next postseason or something. No, future playoff game. Could happen 10 years from now. Do you know what it was for? That's dumb in and of itself. Do you know what it was for?
Yeah, it was smoking cigars after winning back-to-back championships, right?
Smoking cigars. Were they back-to-back? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, back-to-back. Smoking cigars. The reason they got in trouble is because they played at a Texas high school stadium, which has a no tobacco policy. And they warned the entire team because last year they did something similar. I don't know if it was smoking cigars, but did something in the locker room. The NCAA warned Ferris State. 2 players did it anyways. And they also took signs, like Ferris State signs from the locker room that the NCAA wasn't happy with, which is incredibly dumb. What are you going to do with them now that they got in trouble for? And so they suspended him for a future playoff game, which is just a hilarious suspension.
Yeah.
Just suspend him. That's not a big deal. Suspend him for the next game if you want to make a point. Do it for the next game. So dumb.
They get 1 off day during spring practice. That's your punishment.
Yeah. Why are you playing it in a high school stadium though?
Yeah, that's dumb.
So dumb.
But also, like, most of those stadiums out there are pretty big. So, like, I mean, dude, let the people have a smoking area.
It's a victory.
Dollywood
does. My next one, and then I've got 2. We'll call them most importance, but yeah, you can go ahead and do that. We'll call them most important, or after this stupidity, we'll call them most important. Just want to give some shout outs to some people. Did you see this new building that's getting erected in Las Vegas?
That is a penis.
That is a penis. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yep, they are building that in Las Vegas. The best part is, I don't know if this is real, but it's going to have a rooftop fountain. So
nice.
I hope that's true.
Right out of the tip.
See. Yeah.
Also,
we'll see what happens there.
Is it going to be a casino, I'm guessing?
I'm sure it's a hotel in Vegas. I'm sure it's going to have a casino.
Yeah.
All right, I've got 2 shout outs to give. My first one is, I've got one more stupidity. I don't know who it's on. I've got maybe roundabout a couple stupidities. Did you see where Antoine Davis for Detroit Mercy that was going to try to play in the CBI, and the CBI didn't end up inviting him? You got to pay to play in it anyways. They didn't invite him because people were writing emails saying he couldn't. They didn't want him to play in it because they didn't want him to break Pete Maravich's all-time scoring record in that tournament.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a 5th-year guy. So I'm kind of like, you've had your chances, brother.
Yeah.
But also, who cares enough to write to the CBI to not allow a team to pay to play in the tournament? Like I said, so many stupidities to go around.
So did they not allow him to?
No, they didn't invite him. And so this was his quote. I'm upset about it. I feel like I got cheated out of something that they can't ever give back to me. I think it's selfish and weird that people emailed or called the college basketball invitational to say we shouldn't be in the tournament because they didn't want me to break the record. I agree with this point there. I also think it's dumb that he's a 5th-year guy that has played for 5 years, not a red shirt, and you had plenty of opportunities to break the record.
At Detroit Mercy.
And listen, I'm not. This isn't. I hate to group everybody into one, but there's a lot of soft people from every generation out there. You're taking time out of your day to email them because you love Pete Maravich so much that you don't want someone to break a record that most people don't really care about in college basketball. What are we doing?
Yeah, you're the biggest ball hog. Congrats.
Where did you find the CBI's email? Well, also, I mean, college basketball, a lot of, since the era of can't go straight to the NBA out of high school, your best players are one and done. And if they're not one and done, they're only playing for 3 years.
Right.
So what are we doing? Who cares? Like I said, stupidities go around. All stupid.
Yeah, that's a dumb. Like, cool. You'll get your name in the record books, but like, it doesn't mean anything. Like Pete Maravich, what did he do it in 3 years? 4 maybe.
I think he did it in 3. He did do it in 3 years. He still holds it. He did it, I think, in 3 years with no 3-point line. It's not Pete Maravich is a good basketball player. I'm not dogging Pete Maravich. I'm dogging the people that are so butthurt that they had to probably go through like 3 Google searches for the CBI's email to email them all upset.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you would have passed him in this CBI tournament, still you shouldn't earn the record because of that, because Pete Maravich was way more impressive.
I mean, give him the record, but it can be something we argue about later. Should Antoine Davis who's the real record holder? Listen, you took away a great bar debate because you're so selfish and stupid and you have nothing better to do. I hate all those people that email about it. Just give us something to talk about.
Let the kids.
What if we
play.
What if we have another pandemic? What are we going to discuss?
That's true. What do you do?
All right, I've got 2 shout outs I want to give. My first one is to Kim English, headed to Providence. The man keeps getting jobs. Keeps getting promoted.
We'll see you in a few years.
I hope so. I like Kim English a lot. He's done pretty good at George Mason. Now gets the chance to go to the Beast. I mean, it's hard to argue, especially the way they're playing right now, the best conference in college basketball.
And they just added Rick Pitino.
And they just hired Rick Pitino. That was quick, by the way. Pun intended. But yeah, that's awesome for him. That's a tough place to win consistently. Ed Cooley did it. I don't blame. A lot of people are wondering. Georgetown's a step up from Providence. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Now, I don't disagree with a lot of people saying he lied. Yeah, he probably did lie. College coaches are mostly scumbags. They'll lie right to your face.
No, yeah, 100%.
They lie to 17-year-olds. They lie to fans. They probably lie to their wives. I mean, come on. My next shout out is to the Carolina Panthers. Did you see where at Ohio State's Pro Day, Josh McCown told CJ Stroud they'll play horse when he will find a court when he lives in Charlotte?
I saw that.
They might have the guy they want.
I'm cool with it. Either one.
I think I like Stroud better than Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean, like production wise, like Bryce Young, like just seeing Bryce Young live, you're like, oh my god, that dude's a freak. But yeah, when you're just looking at intangibles and stuff like that, like CJ Stroud definitely makes sense.
Well, and he has those intangibles that I think some people like in Will Levis, the big body, the big arm, but he also has the production. Sure, not the Bryce Young production, but the production and close to Bryce Young, sure, but Bryce Young did a lot himself, especially this year. CJ Stroud, though, has a little bit of both. And that's another thing, too, is CJ Stroud hadn't been anywhere near as injured as Bryce Young. Now, you can argue he hadn't played in as physical of the league, but I think if I have the number one pick, I think I'm spending it on CJ Stroud. So I think your Panthers might be making the good decision.
Yeah, I'm cool with either, just not freaking Will Levis or Anthony Richardson.
I don't know how much say Josh McCown has, and I didn't know. I guess he's the QB coach over there now.
He is, yes.
I did not know that. But his daughter is dating or married to someone on. Who is it?
I don't know.
Someone on Tennessee's roster. I can't remember. So a little Tennessee connection there too.
Oh, Tennessee, like our Tennessee?
Yeah, our Tennessee Volunteers.
Okay.
She went to UT.
Went?
I think it's
she doesn't.
Do what?
Like she doesn't anymore. What's her name?
Here, hold on, I got it. It's Cheyenne LaBruza. Yeah, that's who it is.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah, she went to UT. I don't know if she still does. I don't know how old she is. She went to UT. I don't know if her brother, Josh, is one of Josh. He has like 8 kids, I think. One of his sons recently, I don't know if it's basketball, football. He was getting, I don't even know how heavily recruited. He did a recruiting visit or 2 to UT.
Interesting.
Also don't know where he lived because they lived in like 8 different cities. I mean, I think he played for like 30 NFL teams. It's something.
He was basically like a military child.
Yeah. Which, good for Josh McCown. He made a nice living being a backup quarterback. And probably nowhere near as much CTE as any other starter in the league. Another career backup that probably has more CTE than Josh McCown, at least, is someone like Fitzmagic. Yeah,
because Fitzmagic always, where he ends up to be the backup, the starter usually goes down, so he has to play.
Yeah. So I just counted off. He played at 12, maybe not 12 different. I'd have to see if there are any repeats. He played on like 12 different teams. I don't know if that was 12 different franchises, but
I know his daughter one time and all her friends like wore like different Josh McCown jerseys at school.
Yeah. Yeah. So 12 different teams. It doesn't look like there's any repeats, just running through that real quick, but so maybe 12 different franchises. I thought he was one of those guys that who is the quarterback that played on like 30 teams? Who was that? You remember?
I feel like Josh McCown is the one that I think of. That.
Okay. Well, he's 12, so he's not. I thought there was one though that was way more.
I don't know. Is Carson Palmer? No, I'm trying to think.
He was in the league long
enough.
He
was in the league quite a bit.
Long enough to do that. Yeah. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'll see if I can find it later. Maybe we'll talk about it Sunday.
Baker Mayfield might be up there at some point.
He probably likes the idea of being a career backup right now.
But I do like C.J. Stroud. His pro day was the other day, and Bryce Young's was today. So Panthers were there as well. So
What do you think about Cam Newton? Speaking of the Panthers.
Hey, my man's low on cash. Gotta be.
All right, guys. It's been fun. We'll get out of here. Tennessee's going to tip off here soon. I don't know the exact time. I haven't checked. Make sure you guys are going to Underdog Collectibles. Like I said, we were in there looking at everywhere from college football cards to MLB baseball cards and jerseys, and they've also got FIFA cards, Pokemon cards, any collectible card and any other collectible you can think you would need in your man cave. They've got it. We've also, like we said, we are now working with the Volunteer Club. Make sure you guys check them out. Link is in our bio or on our page, recently tweeted out. Go sign up today. Get started. Winning starts here. I love that. Winning starts here. NIL has become a big part of college football. It's going to be a big part of recruiting. If you want Tennessee to continue getting some of the best talent, it's not going to be the end-all, be-all, but it's going to be a factor. And be a part of that. Give what you can give. And this is something I'm passionate about, and this is something I don't mind paying a what you think, Netflix subscription or a HBO subscription. That's how I view it. This is what I want my money to go towards, because this is a hell of a lot better than anything HBO is going to put on, and or even Apple TV. I love Ted Lasso, but Tennessee beating Alabama, it beats every season to Ted Lasso.
Yeah, that's what I think of it. This is my part to actually have a say in Tennessee getting to where Georgia's at.
Yeah.
Surpassing the Georgia and Alabamas of the world. This is my part. So,
yeah,
go ahead.
And it's not just giving and just hoping something comes out of it, that kind of deal. Like you do, the great benefit of this is it's not just, hey, give and we'll do our best with it. Yeah, you kind of have to hope for that and that. But we're going to get some guys on here from the Volunteer Club that are going to tell you what they're doing, what their vision is, and how they're helping these athletes. But you also mentioned earlier in the show, you get a lot of benefits from joining. You'll see each of those in every tier when you join. You also get discounts, exclusive events, exclusive content. So there's a lot of great things to go along with what me and Landon just mentioned as well.
Yeah, really cool to get access to these players. So, and this is your one way to kind of do that, is be a part of the Volunteer Club. So go do that, guys. It's time.
Sweet 16.
We're feeling elite, baby. We'll be back on Sunday. Hopefully talking sweep. Hopefully talking. I mean, I guess by that point we'll be in the Final Four. Maybe we might have to do a show before then. We'll see. But guys, have a good Friday. Go Vols. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.